Cherubs. There are cherubs, you know, they're real. They are cherubs. One of the things Teresa of Avila wrote about, she said, I was visited by an angel today, but I wasn't sure from what realm. Was it a cherub or was it a guardian angel?
What's the difference between the two?
A cherub.
Oh, just a little.
A puff of an angel. A cherub, a baby angel. A puff of an angel. But they're angels that are assigned to everything. You know, every human being has an angel escort that takes you down to life. And when it's time for us to leave, we're escorted back. Well, you have a guardian that's with you your whole life. That is true. Yeah. You have a guardian that's with you your entire life. You just keep talking. No. Your guardian is your guardian. Can you be an Indian? Angels don't have ethnic. Stop it. Stop being so planetary, folk. That is so first floor. If I had a fish, I would smack you with it. You had an epiphany, did you? Okay. Yeah. No, you cannot have an Indian. This is so classic.
You just went to the first level yourself?
Did I snap you out of it?
Yeah, but the Indians say you have an animal.
A spirit.
An animal spirit.
That's what I meant.
All right. Okay. So I'm going to go here for about 1 minute. I'm visiting this nonsense for 1 minute, and then we're getting back. Okay. And you know what? The high. All right, watch me calm down. Watch me assume center. All right. Every level of life has consciousness. Every single level of life has consciousness. It is astounding to me when someone says, oh, look, that animal feels for its young. Where I want to say, you stupid SOB, what do you think? But I don't. Because I'm conscious, and I'm trying to get myself out of the basement. But in fact, every level of life shares consciousness. Everything. So every level has a connection to every level. So the animal kingdom resonates with the human kingdom. And I do not believe by superiority and lesser. The thing that is, we are predators, animals are predators. We are killers, we are ruthless, we are murderers. Animals don't murder. Animals don't steal. Animals don't commit any of the crimes we do. Right? None. I think that the qualities of courage and loyalty, the qualities of strength that are in the animal spirit, reflect our animal nature. And our animal nature is our predatorial nature and what offsets our predatorial nature. Are you understanding what I'm saying here? Because we resonate with all life breathes together, so we resonate with the instinctual animal nature. So I have no doubt that there is a resonance with the animal kingdom, that there somehow is a magnetic resonance with certain animal instinctive qualities that blend with your archetypal instinctive nature. Could you turn off your phones, please? Could you turn off your phones, please? What?
The resonance with your archetypal.
Okay.
I want to take you off course.
Okay. All right, I'm going to weave this into everything. Again and again, I take it from the emphasis on understanding yourself as light, law, and love. The three forces of creation that you have at your disposal to learn how to use while you're in physical form. And these three are the currents of God that are at our disposal. These are the forces of creation. And what we also have at our disposal is how deeply do you want to understand creation? How deeply? Do you want to stop at, I don't want to work in another state? The third level of your building where you think this is as far as I want to go. This is a question we have to really sit with and revisit. Or do you want to make the transition, the transformation to the impersonal version of you, which is a phenomenal, powerful transformation, but it is a transformation. Make no mistake. It is a complete transformation of you. And in this journey of transforming yourself, what you access, what you begin to access is, what are my archetypal patterns? What universal patterns am I attached to that work through me that I'm not even aware of, that you haven't been aware of your entire life? You think you know yourself, but you don't get that you were born a stranger to yourself, that most of your life you surprise yourself. You surprise yourself with what comes out of your mouth. You surprise yourself, and what you can't get over is when you meet someone who says something to you and you're like, how did you know that about me? Oh my, we must be meant to be friends. Because you can't get over someone recognizing something in you that you hardly know yourself. Because you don't get that life is about you getting to know yourself. Someone forgot to tell you that the journey of life is a journey of self-knowledge. Who am I? What am I? What makes me who I am? Why do I do what I do? Why? What makes me have the agendas I have? One of the richest questions on the second floor is, I wonder what motivates me to do what I do. What motivates me? How many of you even know your own motivations? But the amazing thing is, other people can spot them. And if you don't know your motivations, how do you know where your power is? When I do a reading and I see the shatteredness in a human being, and I realize you have no idea where you are. You have no idea. To me, what causes 90% of depression and anxiety is that someone has no idea where their power is and how to get it back. As you go up the lever, you start to recognize that what you are giving, what you are releasing on your third floor is this illusion that you are in control of yourself. And that somehow, by being stubborn, by being more and more into these rules, like these are my boundaries, the nonsense things people come up with in this floor to excuse me? The things that people come up with here, these are my boundaries. You can't talk to me this way. You can't do this. The ways that you come up with to present yourself in the world so that people know who you are. You can't use that tone of voice with me. You can't do the way that you start to articulate yourself to the world so that when you, third floor, walk on the street, people will step aside so that you are recognized, so that people know you. You yourself are parametering your power in such a tight way because you have no concept of your invisible power. You have no concept of it. You have no concept of how to be empowered by just being. So you still have to have rules. You still have to be able to raise your voice. You still have to present yourself as different. Okay, but as you depersonalize and you look at the cosmos and you say, what are my cosmic patterns that are working through me that I am attached to and connected with everyone else? To it, I have the teacher archetype. I have the teacher archetype. Duh. But here's something interesting. When I was growing up, for me, anyway, it was, my father always said to me when I was growing up, I don't care what you are when you get out of school, so long as you are a teacher or a nurse. But no, he said that to me because when I was growing up, those were the two major professions for a girl. And he wanted to make sure I could take care of myself. Those were the professions he understood, that he recognized. You know, my aunts were that, and he's a man who was a Marine, and this was for him safety. And I never ever wanted to teach. It was repellent to me because I thought teaching meant being around kids, and I don't like being around kids. I really don't. It's not my thing. I don't like it. I can't communicate. As soon as they can tell me what they want, then I'll be around them. But I thought grade school, I could never do that. It never occurred to me that I would teach. It never occurred to me. But I found myself always lecturing people, or always teaching, or always wanting to explain something, or always like the passing on of knowledge. Like, I was always excited, like, how could you not be excited about this? How could you not be excited about that? How could you not want to know this? And I would corner my brother, I would corner my neighbors. Somebody would ask me what time it is, I'd tell them how to build a watch. I mean, everything was, right? To me, the archetype of the teacher explained a bigger part of my journey. And it explained my connection to teachers and my deep regard for, the whole thing. This kind of knowledge for you is the kind of knowledge where you begin to access your cosmic self, your higher self. Why would that be of any interest to you? Because everything down here is the caboose on your train. You may think it's the engine, but it's the caboose. It is the caboose. How you behave, how you dress, everything about yourself is the result of your archetypal patterns. It's not the beginning. Everything. And so when, for example, you are in conflict with someone, let's say you're in a conflict and something isn't going, you're in a conflict, say a bad business thing, and you think it's just not fair how it worked out. It's just not fair. How could you access this? The tendency is to come down here and take everything personally, and to look at it in the courtroom of Hammurabi's code, an eye for an eye. To come down even to the tribal level, which is where you'll start to think that the world revolves around you. In the days before Copernicus, you are the earth and everything revolves around you, which is a calculus people have when it comes to justice. The hardest thing is to pull yourself out and to get archetypal coordinates, to get impersonal about your life and to say, You know what? I have the test of the warrior coming up. And this is my last battle. And I see it. If you know the journey, if I said to someone, if I spotted their archetype and they said, what do? I would give them the great literature of the warrior and say, I want you to read about Arjuna, Krishna. I want you to read about the warriors and then see what the gods, how they counseled the warrior on the last battle. That's what you do, because that's the test you have. And the test is, how do you want to spend your life force right now? Do you want to spend it on a war that will cost you everything and gut you? Or do you want to walk away from this battlefield and say, I'm done fighting, and put all the life force into a new life? Because that is the test that will come to every warrior, and now it's your test. And it's always presented to you in a battle that has never meant more. It'll present you with something like, but it's everything. It's my fortune, it's my house, it's my job, it's my this, or so you think. Or so you think. Because if it didn't look like that, it wouldn't cost you so much, and the choice wouldn't be this great. Of course it's going to look like that. This is the archetypal battlefield that's going to tear, in the words of Arjuna and Krishna, tear the fabric of your universe apart. That's how these cosmic choices come. And so you say, no, I will not fight this battle. I will put my life force into myself, because the real question is, have you learned how precious your life force is yet? Now what will you do with it? Will you waste it on another war? Or will you put it into life itself? Because if you put it into life, my God, you will only see life. Now, do you get what I'm saying to you? It is so, but to get to that point, you have to be able to spot where you're losing power and hold yourself accountable to that. And actually recognize, I have an addiction here, and it costs me. And when this addiction comes up, this is what I do. I rationalize, or I blame others, or you have to see how you will excuse something. You have to be able to see what your anger drives you to down here. So I think is this the time to do that? I think it may be. It may be. I got to get those notes so I could. Maybe the time to take you through that. You know, I don't have my glasses on. I can't read my own writing. I can't read it anyway, so. There are archetypal stages of empowerment that you go through that are transitionary here, but actually before I get you there, because it's such a rich text, I want you on your second floor to actually be able to identify for yourself, when you look out upon your life, in the second floor of your life, the stuff that you have and are attached to that actually costs you power, as opposed to, that actually costs you your light, as opposed to enhance your light. That actually costs your light. Where you realize it is draining your cell tissue for you to hold on to this. Now, this is also the place where your gut instinct kicks in and will always tell you, this is costing you. So let me give you this right here. this floor right here, is where your health instinct kicks in. This is where the law of balance and harmony is always in motion. So think of a balance of a ship. It's the lower thing, so it always works to keep you upright and healthy. So this is where when you eat something, when you're doing something, when you're engaging in something that throws you off, when you're with people, or when you yourself go to any extremes, psychically, energetically, mentally, that throw your system or your life off balance, this is the part of you that will be alerted. And you will be alerted. Your intuition will tell you this isn't, or like for example, if you've ever met somebody and thought, I don't want to get to know them. I'm sure you have. Have you not? Okay, and how long does it take you to get that signal that I don't want to get to know this person? Is it not instantaneous, right? It's so quick. That is your survival mechanism. And if you notice, and it's important to notice this, your survival mechanism never gives you reasons. That's the nature of organic divinity. Heaven will never give you reasons. That's the nature of prayer. It's the nature of organic divinity. It's whether you look at any of the stories from Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane to any of the stories in the scriptures of Asia or the scriptures of Buddha or any of the, even Muhammad in the Quran, heaven will never give you a reason for what it orders you to do. Talk about, you're just not qualified. Our role as human beings is to listen and follow orders. Okay? So in the second, this part of ourselves, we have to learn to become very astute at following this guidance and responding. So when I ask you a question, what are you attached to that you know throws you off balance? Now, identify 5 things, including relationships, that you know throws you off balance. And in this, it can be power struggles. In this, I want you to include the need to be right. That you will engage in that, knowing it doesn't accomplish anything. The need to get, I know this one person, and it's difficult to be around this person because she'll always speak this way. You'll have a conversation, and you'll be talking about something, and when you want to make a point, you're done with your point. Like, there's an elephant in the room. Okay, but this person will say, I'm just saying, there's an elephant in the room. And this person will go on and on until you finally say, you're right, there's an elephant in the room, you were right, you're the only one who can see it. I mean, it goes, she drives this wedge. I'm just saying. And it's like a relentless, and if you don't acknowledge this, she won't stop. She just simply won't stop. It's almost like, I don't know if she gets it. And I'll actually say to her, will you stop? Stop it. Do I look like I'm not listening to you? Because pretty soon I am going to look that way. But this kind of push, this is where we are all unconscious of ourselves in some regard. And this is where we get into things and behavior choices that we make oftentimes unconsciously, or we make them out of fear, we make them out of habit, and what you don't get is that these choices cost you your light. Which is why sometimes the universe intervenes, and what will happen is the choices that we make will backfire as a way of waking us up. like it doesn't work anymore. So this is also where, please list a couple of addictions, things you absolutely have to have that you know are not good for you. And nobody can list chocolate, because really, enough of that. I mean, like, how many of you are addicted to attention? Okay, but you have to list what kind. What kind of attention? Be very specific.
From men.
Okay, put it down. Every man? Okay, you have to be, now, and the reason I'm being is, I'm not a voyeur here, believe me, but the reason I am telling you to be very specific is that at some point you will want to know why you're losing energy. And in my history with people who go to healers, they'll say, oh, your energy's off. They don't know what they're talking about. You cannot be helped unless you have a laser in you. And you are able to say, you're losing energy to this thought form, to this issue. The issue is you have an issue with this type of man issue. As the more specific you can get with yourself, the more you will be able to sit back and say, why am I losing my power? Why am I depressed? Why am I this? The more specific you can be, the more conscious you become. You get it? This is how you develop that kind of keen sense inside of yourself. So, and believe me, everybody goes through addictions. There's no such thing as not being born addicted. You are an addict. It's just a matter of how much, what, and how long. How many of you are addicted to routines? There you go. I'm an absolute addict to reading. I am out of control if I don't have a book. I'm out of control. Huh? You know why? Because I actually have had near a panic attack when I got onto a plane one time and I realized I didn't have a book. I mean, no, it's just, I have to have a book near me all the time. All the time, I have to have a book near me. I have to have a book in my purse. I have to have a book. I mean, it's just, even if, no matter where, I just feel like it's my security. So is that good? No. It's preposterous. It's like a baby bottle. Yeah. No, it's really preposterous. I don't feel like I can relax if I don't have a book near me. Oh, it's serious business. It's serious. Yeah. Okay. The other thing here is identify three things you crave. Cravings. Cravings that you will compromise yourself for. Cravings. Now this is a big deal because when it comes to the cravings in the outside world, cravings are what you will negotiate truth for. You'll negotiate friendships. You will lie to a friend and say, actually, I'm not feeling so well, because you have to go out that night to take care of a craving. So a craving is something that will drive you to compromise yourself. And what you're really acknowledging is that I have no control over this thing. It controls me. And that's where, if you could see your angel would say, we're going to have to deal with this. Because this is what's called a false god. This is more to you than the value of guidance, than the value of what heaven has to say to you. This cannot last. So at some point, this wall is going to come tumbling down. So I'm going to say this again in a different way. Anytime you have some kind of craving that causes that kind of imbalance. Now, this is just archetypal, this is universal. I want you to picture your angel saying to you, I want you to acknowledge that this, whatever this is, this craving, causes you to compromise your consciousness. And I can't allow that. So at some point, this has to be brought into balance, because that's the law. So some situation is going to have to arise that will allow you to confront how off balance this is so that you can bring it into balance. Are you with me here? So just to hit a pause button, when you see situations in life where you see people where that story reads, they were speeding and they were alcoholics and they hit the road and they hit a wall and they do this, where you see all of these, where you see things that are of extreme. If you could have a different perspective, if you could look through the law of balance and imagine that their time has come to go into balance, that they have or if an illness comes up or something like that, that something has arisen to bring them into balance, that different choices have to be made that they were unable to make on their own. And if you look at your own life very carefully, and how many times before a crisis has happened, if you are very still and look back, you'll realize that oftentimes you were intuitively warned and told, shift gears, do something differently. So you were offered the wisdom path before woe had to be engaged. Are you with me? But so heaven will frequently offer people the wisdom route in order to balance, so that you can make choices to balance, so that the woe path doesn't have to be engaged.